Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Worldwide People's Championship with me, your host, Gyle. You haven't heard me say that before because this is my first time covering one of these. It's been going for a little while now. It's moving into its 8th week, and it is the brainchild of my good friend and fellow caster TA for life. He and Napalm have been doing a pretty superb job with the action so far. If you're not familiar with the format, it's a little bit different to the other things that we've done in the past, or rather the other tournaments that have been running in the past. It is not a single event, it is an on-running championship, so much more like a kind of boxing or UFC champion. There is always one at the top, and from week to week that may or may not change depending whether or not they are able to defend their title. So you have basically once a week you'll get 4 sign-ups, and those sign-ups will be seeded. They'll play off against each other, and the winner of those will face off against the reigning champ from the previous week, and that will determine basically who the current champion is. This is not a championship bout that I'm bringing for you today. This is one of the seeded matches, or rather this is the match that will decide who the contender is to go up against Iridium, and it is going to be between Adze and the Tempest. So without further ado, let's head on over to Desert Joust for Game 1. So let's take a quick look at the challenges for this. Down here in the bottom right hand corner we have the Tempest. He's going White Aeon, and up here at the top left we have adsefghjk, or rather as he's more commonly known, Adze. It's a lot easier to look at it like that, and he's going Seraphim, and he's orange at the top left. Now both guys are opening with land, not doing anything crazy there. Slightly different build, not going straight for the obligatory 2 power gens then onto mass. He's going straight for mass, and I suppose he's probably going to work straight on a hydrocarbon. Indeed he does. That pops out there. Let's see what Tempest is doing on the opening. He's going much more standard build. This is the build that's been kicking around ever since Forged Allies came out. The opening, there's the 2 power gens attached to that initial factory, and immediately queuing up, of course, an air factory, and he's going to link that up once that hydrocarbon is built for an extra power bonus, so nothing peculiar there. Desert Joust, of course, we were all pretty familiar with this map by now. It's got the 2 other possible starting locations. These will be the main places at where the battles take place for fighting over the extra resources, and of course there's a few resources in the middle along with some pretty juicy reclaim in the form of some Cybrin destroyers, those little Salem classes. God knows what they're doing out here. Perhaps there was some kind of sea that was removed by some geological process or something, and they were trapped here. I don't know, crazy. Well, that's a hell of a long walk from some kind of water. But anyway, we can probably see Adze is looking to take advantage of those wrecks. He's making a move right to the middle as soon as possible. For the moment, Tempest is in his base, but he's also moving out. He's a little bit further behind than Adze. So if he is going to the middle with his commander, he's going to miss out. However, he has got an engineer on the case, and that is also diligently making its way to the middle to pick up what he can. Adze's going to run into an Aurora or a Light Scout. There's the Scout. So that was an Aurora that has bit the dust, I believe, unless someone was watching more closely than I. So the Tempest has managed to get his hands on some of that mass with that engineer, which is going to do him a few favors, because of course the ACU will be able to harvest that a lot more effectively than a regular old engineer. You can see he started after that engineer but has managed to finish ahead of him. But I don't think Adze's going to be able to get his hands on any of that reclaim. Indeed, that wreck goes down. So not too much of an advantage gained initially. However, that engineer does get popped when it probably walks into the ACU. And we've already got some pretty decent spam coming out of Adze. He's got a nice group of T1 land factories going, and he's queued them off right the way up over to the right-hand side of the map. And that spam is already making its way over, and it'll be preventing any kind of engineers from getting up here to the top right to pick up the mass. The Tempest has, for the moment at least, secured the bottom left. He's getting some mass extractors up and running, and he's queued up a point defense. And he has managed to get a factory up and running as well. And then he's starting to produce engineers out of that. So it looks like that may be a hold on the left-hand side. However, the Tempest could be in some jeopardy over here on the right-hand side. That's a lot of T1 units that are massing on the border. He has got some of his own, though, just sitting inside the boundary of his starting location. And any engineers that are doing the basic construction are set back from those. So I don't think he's going to too many danger of losing any kind of build power to a catastrophic mistake, and the fans are steaming in now, getting popped quite consistently by the Auroras, and one Zui left. Indeed, that goes down to make its retreat. So a nice little pick up there from the Tempest. Adzi just testing the water with those troops to see what the strength is, see if he could waltz in and get some early engineer kills, but alas for him, that is not the case. You can see a few of the T1 factories that are still queued up for the Tempest. Of course, it's very dangerous when you start getting your engineers outside and queuing up factories in the direction for which your enemy is coming from. Adzi has a lot more map control at the moment, so he has room to play with, so he can feel free to get his engineers building all the way out here for the moment. And wishing to make a beeline straight for his base and cut down the travel time, he is avoiding the plateau altogether with this next group of reinforcements that's heading straight for those Auroras. And the Tempest is wisely going to back off towards the entrance, although he's got a pretty significant force of his own now, which is looking rather good. However, the middle has been completely uncontested by the Tempest, and Adzi is just sitting pretty with his ACU, getting an upgrade on in the middle. We'll take a quick look at what that is. So it's 280, so that is the gun upgrade, I do believe. It is sucking all of his mass and power for the moment, but that's going to make him nice and powerful in the near future when that gets up and running. Can't see anything happening on the Tempest. I've done an upgrade while I haven't been watching. Just take a very quick look at what he's got. Yes, so he has got the quantum accelerator as well, so he's already got his gun upgrade. So ACU-wise, they're matched pretty evenly, or at least they will be. But the Tempest is looking rather cut off now from his own base. This little push of T1 units, the Fans and Zuis, making their way down the center of the map and now steaming in the unguarded entrance of the Tempest's main base. Tempest has made the transition to Tech 2. He's got some blazes on the field now, but well, I say some, he's got one. He could definitely do with a few more, and if he takes too much cataclysmic power damage, this could really hurt him in the long game. Indeed, there are some Zuis in the mix, and they're the guys that are going to do all of the damage to the buildings, but I don't think they're going to be able to get any concentrated fire on any one particular structure, so the Tempest will manage to defend against that. And he is making a push of his own on the left-hand side now, and this is definitely a good idea, being as he knows that a lot of Adzi's forces have pushed up the center of the map. He's going straight after that line of T1 power gens. Of course, you've got to be really careful. You don't want your units sitting too close to those power gens, or they will go pop along with the gens, as you just saw there. And he probably lost about 3 or 4 units in that unnecessarily. But at the same time, Adzi's also making a push on the right-hand side of the map, just harassing that little entrance, but he hasn't been able to finish off that factory, which is a shame for him, because that is the T2 factory, which is now producing obsidian tanks, which is one of my favorite T2 units in the game. Absolutely monstrous, but of course you'll need to get a few numbers on the field. Now, Tempest is walking very unadvisedly in with his commander. Obviously he thinks his gun upgrade has given him more strength than he thinks, but unfortunately for him, Adzi also has a gun upgrade, and he is going very quickly into the red, down to 1,000 hit points and under. This is going to be the end. His best hope would be able to take Adzi out with the explosion, but he doesn't. He should have focused on the ACU with his commander, and hopefully have got him down enough to grab the draw, but he didn't identify the threat early enough, I do not believe, and that is a win in game 1 for Adzi. So very nice pickup there from him. So very entertaining, if not a short game. Looked like just around the odd 10-minute mark or something near to that. Incidentally, guys, just to reiterate, the Galactic War project, I have mentioned this in my last few videos, has been funded on Indiegogo, but please don't let that stop you from donating. There's still at least 5 or 6 days left on that project, and like I've been saying till I'm blue in the face, the more money that Zep gets, the better he can make the project. So if you were thinking about donating, please still consider to do so if you haven't already. But that is enough of that. As we move on to game 2, we will go back to Canis 4v4. And the maps for this tournament actually quite interestingly, they're not chosen from any pool or anything like that. They are literally just chosen in discussion between Napalm and TA for Life. And I like this because they have sat down, they thought we'll have Canis, but we won't just have the regular Canis map, the 1v1 ladder match that everyone has seen 100,000 times. Let's go for the 4v4 version. And why is that different? Well, you've got these 4 starting locations on each side of the river, and each one of those has its accompanying 5 mass points. So each of these guys is going to have a colossal amount of mass to deal with. A Tempest not going for the 2 power gen opening this time. He's going for an earlier hydrocarbon. I think that is more based purely on the geography and the layout of the initial starting position. That hydrocarbon is so close, and so it does make sense for him to do so. Adze has done exactly the same thing this time. Hasn't built any power gens to start with. He gets mass very early on, and the first thing of power he goes for is that hydrocarbon. Of course, he's got that connected as well, so he should be getting some little bonus on that. But look at that huge quantity of land factories instantly queued up very early on from Adze. That is brutal. So there's no wonders there what this guy's going for in terms of strategy. He is going all out land spam. And credit to him, and it should escalate exceptionally quickly with the amount of mass that he has access to. He is building a air factory at the moment, so that will give him the air he needs to get that spam up and running. We'll just take a look at what the Tempest is doing. He's also working on an air factory, and he's connected that up wisely to the hydrocarbon to get the bonus, because of course, as we all know, the planes do suck the old power in this game. But of course, not only the mass points, he's got 3 more hydrocarbons, each of these guys, to play with as well. So it really will be a very fast escalating map. And we can see the Tempest is moving forward, and it looks like he wants to create a little bit of a forward base. He's queued up at a land factory. It looks like that's going to go nestled up against one of the hydrocarbons, the forward hydrocarbons. And now Adze is also making a move of his own. He's picking up mass points on the way. We see a couple of bombers and a scout plane, or a bomber and a scout plane, out for Adze. And that's interesting, actually. He's there's nothing happening, or at least there was nothing happening. There's a half-built bomber, I think, from the Tempest, but that has been put on hold, at least for the moment. It's a shame he hadn't gone straight for an interceptor, because he's lacking anti-air at the moment, and that first bomber that's coming in for Adze could get some kills. It picks up an Aurora, and it's got another bomb coming straight out, destroys the half-built bomber that was on the landing pad. So very nicely done. Tempest responds by changing it up to interceptors. The problem, of course, is we've got defending interceptors out for Adze and already circling over the Tempest base. So this one little bomber is having a field day. If you can get a bomb off on these engineers, that would be absolutely brutal. Decides instead to go over here, and we can see a very early T2 rush from Tempest. He's going straight for T2 air at the 5-minute mark, and that could be a make or break for this game. Exceptionally early tech, especially since he doesn't have a great deal on the field, and that spam has already started, so that could be slightly costly for the Tempest. The land spam, that's obviously the weapon of choice for this, or the strategy of choice for Adze in this game, is up and running. That land spam is on its way, and the factories are just pouring out of the engineers, and this could be real trouble. Has he got this upgrade finished yet? Yes, he does, and he's immediately producing Spectres out of it. So the T2 gunships will help him defend against the land spam, but the problem is he would probably have been better working with Swiftwinds, because at the moment he doesn't have air control, which is quite extraordinary, the fact that he's gone for a T2 air factory, and Adze has got only one T1 air factory, but at the moment he's managing to gain the advantage in the air. It may not last for very long. The numbers are evening up in favor, or rather moving in favor of the Tempest, and if you can get enough Spectres out, he might be able to salvage this, but that's an awful lot of units pouring up the right-hand side of the map, and he's actually been very slow to expand. He's got some engineers down here in the middle, but he hasn't gone for any of the side mass points. And admittedly, mass isn't such a problem on this because of the amount of mass points that they have access to in their main base, but at the same time you don't want to yield any unnecessary map control. And you look at how proactive Adzy's been at grabbing the mass points to the left of his base, and he's just literally denied Tempest a chance. Indeed, the Tempest is not making any play for it at all. Instead, he is walling off, but I don't believe that wall is going to get finished unless Adzy changes direction with this column of troops moving towards the Tempest's base. You see another column of tanks, the Thuis, marching across the land bridge, and at the moment kind of circling around in between the forward base and the main base. The Tempest has upgraded his commander to T2 as well, so it's another decent sink of mass that he's had poured into. He's got a couple of T2 PDs down here, the Oblivions, but that's only going to cover this area. And if you look at the trouble he's in now, he's got a lot of T1 spam heading in, and while he'll probably be able to deal with it eventually due to these Spectres, the damage may already have been done, excuse me. You can see the mass points are tumbling down one by one alongside the T1 power generators as well. He's going to lose this Hydra Guard, which is going to be a real shame for him, but judging by the fact that he's gone T2 air and early, he's going to need that power bonus on that factory, which he no longer has. And but now he's really wishing he had control of the mass on the right hand side. He's lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mass points in the center of his base, and look at the amount of crap coming out of Adzy's side of the map. That is absolutely brutal, and I think I can probably say with some certainty it's a long way back now from Tempest to claw this victory out of the jaws of defeat. I don't see there's any real way he's going to be able to manage it. Indeed, look at the expansion of Adzy. He's already taking the mass points on the right hand side of the map. At this point, Tempest really needs to start sending the odd Spectre around the sides, picking up some engineers and mass points, and the rest of them need to be hovering over here, defending against this horde of units that's coming in. At the moment, the Tempest is just looking like full-on turtle mode, trying to use the advantage that he's got on the tech on the commander. But if this keeps up the way it's been going, I don't really see that there's any way back for him at all. Oblivion turrets going down in the middle. Tempest caught on an upgrade, probably getting the gun upgrade. And despite the fact that those troops are getting pretty heavily, resoundingly beaten, the Tempest is also losing a lot of the base defense that he's erected. And the problem is, of course, for him that Adzy can afford these losses. He cannot. So, I mean, look how happy he's sitting pretty right down here. He's getting some eco up and running. Got a couple of T2 power gens, just completely unmolested at this point. He's got a few units, some Auroras, a little Aurora squad that's made its way down the left-hand side of the map from the Tempest. Picked up 2 or 3 mass points on the way down. But to be honest, all he needs to do is divert a few of these down here to deal with it. And that is the end of the threat from the Tempest. Tempest has managed to complete that wall section, but it's not going to stop them pouring in the right-hand side of the base. There's actually very little to stop them just coming across the land bridge and the inside. When this Oblivion turret goes down and this Eruptor, the T1 point defense, that is going to be the end of all things defensive in the Tempest camp. I think it's safe to say that Adzy is looking like he will be the challenger for the championship for week number 8 to go face Iridium. I don't really see there's any way back. Tempest trying to swat as many of the Seraphim T1 units as he can with his comp as he retreats slowly back into the center of his main base. He's got a few Auroras on the ground, but it's just not enough to get anything done, really. He's got a couple of Oblivion turrets up at the back, but he's lost air control. We've got T2 gunships out now for Adzy as well. They've actually just been popped by the last remaining Swift Winds and interceptors from the Tempest. But Tempest in full-on defensive mode now, and there is going to be absolutely no way back from this, barring some kind of disconnect or epic miracle. And Adzy very nicely mixing in all of the different types of units that he needs to get this done. He's got mobile flat cannons to deal with any potential air threat. he's got Ilshavers marching in as well, so he's made the transition nicely into T2, and it hasn't interrupted his stream at all. Unsurprising when you think of the amount of mass that these guys have access to on this map. Unfortunately, the Tempest just didn't have enough to get the job done. That early tech up killed him. You can always tell when a player is under pressure. Look at the amount of mass that he's floating. Just doesn't have the build power anymore to spend it. And if you take a look at Adzi, he's probably redlining. So yeah, no wasted mass there at all. But I applaud the idea of getting that early T2 air upgrade. I know what he was trying to do. He thought he's got a lot of mass and everything, but you can't. I don't think you can, on a map like this, afford to ignore the T1 spam phase the way he did. He didn't build enough land units to hold Adzi at bay while he could take advantage of the transition tech that he'd made. So it really just didn't have any impact on the game. You can see these troops now just pouring in. That is going to be the end of the last couple of factories. It's going to be the T2 air factory that is last to go down. But well, he's got kind of partial air control at the moment, you could say that, but hasn't been able to do too much. It won't be too long now before all of that spam focuses in on Tempest's ACU, and indeed, there they go. His hit points are just going to plummet now. Absolutely nothing he can do. Apparently, Adzi built a T3 mass fab by mistake. Well done to him. And down below 2,000 hit points, and Kaflooey. Well, very well played, Adzi. I applaud what you were trying to do there, Tempest. Unfortunate it didn't work out for you. But to be fair, you can look at the global ratings between these two players and see that the Tempest did actually do very well. That's quite a significant gulf between these two guys. But like I say, I really hope you guys enjoyed that. That's my first worldwide people's coverage. There will be more to come as and when it is needed from the other two casters. As I say, I'm nothing to do with the organisation side of this tournament. I am literally here just to pick up the slack and help out as and when it is needed. But stay safe, guys. Look forward to seeing you in the future. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. This is Gyle signing out.